Because if you want to learn how to build trust, you got to learn to be able to get other people's attention first, even if you might not be the expert that you think it is. Because sometimes we think, oh, I'll teach when I know everything. And that's never going to be the case because you are the most qualified person to teach the person that you were just a month ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, right? I mean, let's say, and I'm going to try to teach this based on what I learned in a very quick couple hours courses about Facebook ads. And it's very important for me to learn the stuff by internalizing it and learning how to teach it back. And what better way to learn it than try to figure out how to teach it in a way that even a fifth grader can understand, right? So I'm going to come up with some analogies that even you might not feel is the best analogy, but that's okay. I'm looking for feedback. I'm looking to become a better dad. So I would really appreciate if you have any analogies. Let's talk about a normal fifth grader life, right? Let's say you're trying to talk to somebody in the noisy cafeteria, right? Lots of noise, right? You talk, you shout, you wave, and you get nothing. Why? Because they weren't paying attention, and you never got through the noise. And that's what most Facebook ads are. You ever seen an ad and we just kind of swipe by? But every once in a while, you get a ad that you stay on. Why is that? And I learned from Ty Lopez, Joe Soto, on what they call is like the next level ad strategy. So take it for what you will. I'm not saying this is the be all end all, and social media changes every day, but I'm going to try to go through a few concepts that they really hammered home on. Let's start with the number one rule, right? Never ask for the sale too soon. And Facebook is sort of like a party, right? You walk up to someone and say, "Hey, want to give me $100,000 invest for an apartment building right away for affordable housing?" I mean, they're going to run away, or they're going to think you're crazy, or they're going to think you're super needy. So, what do you want to do? Maybe you want to offer some value first, right? Maybe you want to educate them on affordable housing, educate them on the impact, depending on the personality type that we talked about, the pay system. Maybe you can say, hey, this is how this Texas school teacher helped launch a 100 unit affordable housing workforce development by accident for teachers. Give them that teaser that makes them want to find out more. It could be a story, it could be a tip, maybe a piece of insight, right? It's almost as if you are giving somebody a piece of cookie or a whole cookie, not a piece of cookie, that's weird, uh, before you ask for a favor, right? If the cookie's good, maybe they'll want more and they'll remember you. And they call this intent-based branding. You build trust with small wins before you make the ask. All right, let's talk about the next rule. What's so good about Facebook ads is you're essentially using video to build trust on autopilot. This is why it's such a high leverage activity if you learn how to make content, right? Video is probably the closest thing to meeting someone in person, right? If they can see your eyes, they can hear your voice, and they can feel your energy, your tone, your vibe, right? This is why you got to figure out, hey, in under 2 minutes, how do I start the conversation, right? You might ask with a question, hey, did you know that most cities lose their workforce because they can't afford the rents in the city anymore? Or maybe you start with say, "Hey, here's what I do if I had $250." Again, this is not investment advice. We're not soliciting any investments on this call. We're just simply showing you with examples of what it means to come up with advertising. Obviously, with if you're soliciting investments, you got to be like SEC approved, blah blah blah. So these are all just pure examples for informational purposes only. All right. And this is where after you go through different tests, right? You got to test all the time. What hook, what message works best? Because then the substance just becomes you just showing up as yourself, being your genuine self, right? When you FaceTime with somebody instead of texting, chances are you're going to build a deeper bond a lot faster, right? And bonus here, if someone watches like 15 seconds of your video, Facebook lets you retarget them, which brings us to the next point. Now, retargeting is really gentle reminders. They're not meant to be creepy ads. Let's say someone watches your video. They don't click, but they're curious. Now what? Well, you retarget them with a second message. It might be something like you saw the problem. Here's the solution now. Or maybe say, hey, meet one of our partners. This is why he or she chose this mission. Meet one of our faith based partners. This is why he or she or they decided to partner with us as nonprofit developers, right? You're not stalking them. You're not making ask. You're just inviting them to the next step on the ladder. It's no different than you waving at someone that you passed by yesterday and say, "Hey, great to see you again. What are you up to today? Want to keep talking?" That familiarity builds comfort and it builds trust over time. And usually comfort builds relationships that you want typically, if you're keeping it going on your side, right? So let's talk about the next section. Um, Laying your audience. You have to make sure you're not talking to everybody the same way. So Joe's method is pretty smart, right? It's don't run the same ad to cold leads, warm leads, or even hot prospects. You gotta have different ads for different folks, right? For your cold people, he really emphasized using storytelling, sharing your values. When they are warm leads, right, they have a little bit more experience with you. It might be specifically towards problem solving, right? Talking about the credibility of how you put together deals. And when you have a hot lead, that's when you might actually say, hey, you have an ask, right? Like, hey, book a call, join the mission, join the email list. It's almost just like dating, right? On the first date, you're just getting to know each other. Third date, maybe you go deeper about family, values, right? Fifth date, maybe you're talking about the future. What are you interested in? I'm just making this up. This is probably not how dating is going to work whenever my kids grow up, but who knows? But this is why it's so important because you have to understand who your audience is because Facebook will let you create custom audiences, right? These are essentially using these audiences as stages, right? You're not just blasting everybody with spam. It doesn't work. You're being very customized and thoughtful about your approaches, right? When you are willing to test your ad, I mean, you can set up an ad really easily nowadays, right? And you can lose money really fast. But hey, maybe you spend 50 bucks, maybe you spend 100 bucks, maybe you get some results, maybe you get nothing. But at least now you can figure out, and I really like this strategy. I didn't just learn from Ty or Joe, is learn how to create organic content. When you create organic content, you will start to see what messages resonate with the masses. And if you're able to tweak it, tweak the hook, tweak the message, tweak the call to action, you might get different results from different people, from different cohorts, right, in your audience. Sometimes you might just change the tone, maybe a curious tone or confused tone, draw somebody in. You have to try with all of them. And it was just so interesting because I saw how when they test ads, they test almost 20 versions of a hook. Even though it might be the same substance, but they test 20 versions of a hook. And sometimes we underestimate how much work it takes to truly make an impact. So when you think you're doing enough work, do more. All right. It's I thought about creating a course, but this is why I would say don't run a buy my course ad, right? What might be a better approach is, hey, why don't you brainstorm the top fears, right? Or the goals of someone who wants to be associated with affordable housing, right? Who wants to be associated with real estate, right? Those folks might say, hey, they want to make a difference, but they don't know how to start. Or I don't have money, but I want to build apartments. So you might have different headlines like, hey, how I helped 100 families get homes without a development degree in real estate. Well, that might be a little bit more enticing. Or maybe your headline is, "Hey, affordable housing developer in 6 months?" Question mark. It's possible. Here's proof. Or maybe you say, "Hey, want to build apartments but have no idea where to start?" And these lead to a value first or an intent-based type of ad. And I really want you all to kind of take this to heart. Again, I'm not the Facebook marketing expert. I'm simply sharing with you what I learned and looking to apply it towards the real estate realm of what's happening. All right. Hope you all have an amazing Saturday. Spend some quality time with your family and friends today because that's what life is all about. I'm traveling today, but I'm still staying consistent. I'm doing the lives because we're all in this together. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for tuning in live. I'll be back again tomorrow for day 583. Have a good one, everybody.